Dear students, let us start today's lecture. As I said, today's topic will be derivatives of inverse trigonometric functions. Now, many students find this topic difficult not because derivative is difficult, but because their concepts about inverse of a trigonometric function are not clear. And that is why I ask you to revise inverse trigonometric functions. Dear students, remember the only way to learn mathematics is to do mathematics. Remember, learning is not a spectator sport, so let us play. Now, what is the criterion for existence of inverse of a function or in general function, not in particular trigonometric function? See, you must know the concept of 1-1 function and onto function. Initially 1-1 function. A function f from a to b is said to be 1-1 if different elements in a have different images in b. You can see here, this is set a, this is set b. All the four elements have unique images, different images in set b. So we say that this function is 1-1, right? You will find that all elements, remember, all elements in set A have images in set B. Now what is onto function? A function f from a to b is said to be onto if every element y in set B is an image of some element x in A. See, this is set B. You will notice that there are four elements and all have pre-images in the set A, right? So in this case, function f from a to b is what? It is not only 1-1, but it is onto also. Let f from a to b be 1-1 and onto function, and f of x equal to y for all x belonging to a. The inverse function f inverse from b to a is defined as f inverse y equal to x if f of x equal to y. See, this is, you can say set A, this is set B. F is a function from set A to set B. So for the function f, A is domain and B is usually codomain, but as the function is 1-1 and onto, basically onto, codomain is nothing but range of the function. Usually range is a subset of codomain, but function is onto, so range is nothing but codomain. Now, f inverse is a function from set B to set A. So for f inverse, this set B is the domain and set A is what? Range of the function. Now, trigonometric functions. Trigonometric ratios of an angle theta measured in radians are also called as trigonometric functions or circular functions. The domain and range of the trigonometric functions are given in the following table. See, you should know at least, in fact all, but at least domain and range of first three, sine, cosine and tangent. I should have written SI, CO, SI, and TAN, GNT, tangent functions. Now what do you mean by domain and range of a function? Suppose the function is y equal to f of x equal to sine x. Then set of all values of x is nothing but domain. As in case of sine function, you know that sine ratio of all real numbers are defined. So what is the domain of sine function? It is R. Now what is range? Range is set of all values of sine. Now what is the maximum value of sine function? +1. And what is the minimum value? -1. So we say that range of the sine function is closed interval -1, 1. See, again you should know the concept of an interval. Open interval, closed interval, semi-open, semi-closed. What do you mean by closed interval? Here the extreme values -1 and 1, they belong to the same interval. So we say it is a closed interval, right? Now for cosine function also, domain is the same, set of real numbers. And what is the range? Range means set of all values of cosine function. So closed interval -1 to 1. What about tangent function? See, what is tan? It is sine upon cos. Clearly, tan is not defined if cos equal to 0. Now, you know that what is sine theta? Sine theta is nothing but y and cos theta is nothing but x. So if x is 0, then tangent is not defined. Now x is 0 if a point lies on which axis? Y axis. So for which angles? 90 degrees, minus 90 degrees, then 270 degrees, minus 270 degrees, etc. And therefore we say that what is the domain of tangent function? All real numbers except odd integral multiples of pi by 2, that is 90 degrees. We know that tangent ratio can assume any value, right, from minus infinity to plus infinity. Of course, I should say open interval minus infinity to plus infinity, which in short is set of real numbers. Is that clear? Similarly for remaining three trigonometric functions. We know that trigonometric functions are onto their ranges, but they are not 1 hence their inverse function cannot exist. Now you will ask me, sir, we are going to discuss derivatives of inverse trigonometric functions, and here you are saying that the trigonometric functions do not possess inverse. See, as written here, these functions are not 1. For example, what is sine 0? 0. What is sine pi? 0. So two elements are associated with single element. Similarly, we can say for cosine and other functions also. So basically, these trigonometric functions are onto, but they are not 1. So we restrict their domain so that the functions which are already onto, they become 1 also. So their inverses exist. Is that clear? So you should know the restricted domain of each of the 6 trigonometric functions. See, here I have given the function, this is the domain and this is the range. Actually for sin x, this is range, right? And this is domain. You must have observed that for sine function, original domain is set of all real numbers. But we restrict the domain as closed interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So that for sine inverse function, this becomes the range. In fact, you have to remember these values, domain and range, for all the 6 inverse trigonometric functions. At least again for first 3. So for sine inverse x, what is domain? -1, 1. I again repeat, here domain means set of values which can be assigned to x. And what is range? Set of all possible values of sine inverse x. In sine x, x is the angle and sine x is the sine ratio of that angle. In sine inverse x, x is the number, that sine ratio, and sine inverse x is the angle. Is that clear? So for sine inverse x, domain is closed interval -1 to 1 and the range is closed interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. Remember, sine 0 is 0, sine pi is also 0, but sine inverse 0 is not pi because pi does not belong to this closed interval. Now, for y equal to cos inverse x, what is the domain? Same, closed interval -1 to 1. And what is the range? It is closed interval 0 to pi. See, in cos inverse x, x is not the angle, x is the cosine ratio and cos inverse x is the angle. Now for tan inverse x, what is the domain? It is set of real numbers. And what is the range? It is, remember, open interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 because tan pi by 2 is not defined. Again, tan 0 is 0, tan pi is also 0, but tan inverse 0 is not pi. Tan inverse 0 is 0 because pi does not belong to this interval. Is that clear? Similarly, for remaining 3 inverse functions, cot inverse, sec inverse and cosec inverse. Actually, this is not required, but you should know the graphs of at least sine, cosine, and tangent functions. And here I have drawn the graph of inverse function also. See, uh, this is the graph of sine function. Now this is principal branch, I can say minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. Now why to consider this much only? Because from minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, all the values of sine ratio are already considered. That is, sine minus pi by 2 is minus 1, sine pi by 2 is plus 1. So this is the graph of sine function. Now with restricted domain, this is the graph of sine inverse function. Similarly, this is the graph of cosine function and this is the graph of its inverse. That is, this is the graph of cos inverse x. This is the graph of tangent function and this is the graph of tan inverse function. Now, these points are very important. Sine inverse x should not be confused with sin x raised to minus 1, as sin x raised to minus 1 is 1 upon sin x, which is cosec x. Same is for other inverse trigonometric functions. In some cases, minus 1 is here. So it is what? Sine of x raised to minus 1. What is that? It is sine of 1 upon x. That is sine ratio of which angle? 1 upon x. Then, if x equal to sine y, then y equal to sine inverse x is not always true. This is true only when y satisfies the condition that it lies between minus pi by 2 and pi by 2, both values inclusive. This I have already explained. Point number 3. If any explanation or in any problem the branch of inverse trigonometric function is not mentioned, then it is to be considered as the principal value branch of that function. I already explained this. For example, in case of sine function, that minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. In case of cosine function, 0 to pi, and in case of tangent function, minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. Point number 4. The value of the inverse trigonometric function which lies in the range of the principal value branch is called as the principal value of that function. Same thing. Now these simple points. We know that if y equal to fx is a 1, 1 and onto function, then x equal to f inverse y exists. If f inverse y is differentiable, then we can find its derivative. In this section, let us discuss the derivative of some inverse functions and the derivatives of inverse trigonometric functions. You can read these two examples. Like first one, consider f of x equal to 2x minus 2. Then its inverse is what? F inverse x equal to x plus 2 upon 2. See the logic, why this is called as inverse. First, we have to multiply x by 2 and then subtract 2. So in the inverse case, first we have to add 2 because addition is inverse of subtraction, and then we have to divide it by 2. Why to divide? Because division is inverse to multiplication. Let g of x be f inverse x. If we find the derivatives of these functions, we see that what is d dx of fx? It is 2. And what is d dx of g of x? It is nothing but half. These derivatives are reciprocals of one another. Now, derivatives of inverse function. We know that if a function f from a to b is 1, 1 and onto, then its inverse function f inverse from b to a exists. If we exhibit the function f by y equal to fx, then its inverse function f inverse is exhibited by x equal to f inverse y. Now we are going to discuss with proof an important theorem. If y equal to fx is a derivable function of x such that the inverse function x equal to f inverse y is defined, then what is dx dy? It is 1 upon dy dx if dy dx is not equal to 0. Or you can say that if y equal to fx and x equal to g of y, where g is the inverse of f, that is g equal to f inverse, and if dy dx and dx dy both exist and dx dy not equal to 0, then what is dy dx? It is nothing but 1 upon dx dy. Now how to prove this result? The proof is very simple. Let delta y be the increment in y corresponding to an increment delta x in x. What do you mean by an increment? Increment is a very small change. So as x changes with delta x, y will change with delta y. Now as delta x tends to 0, delta y will also tend to 0. Now y is a differentiable function of x. Therefore, as per Leibniz notation, what is dy dx? It is limit delta x tends to 0, delta y upon delta x. Now can I say delta y upon delta x into delta x upon delta y equal to 1? I can. Remember, these are just changes. I'm not saying dy dx into dx dy. I'm saying delta y delta x are the changes, increments. So this is allowed. Now rearrange the terms. So delta x upon delta y equals 1 upon delta y by delta x, provided this is not equal to 0. Taking limit on both the sides as delta x tends to 0, we get limit delta x tends to 0, delta x upon delta y equal to this. Now limit of quotient is limit of numerator 1, which is 1, upon limit of denominator. Now observe the change. Initially it was delta x, but now I have written delta y. Reason, as delta x tends to 0, delta y tends to 0. I remember one student asked me, how can you say that delta x tends to 0, so delta y will also tend to 0? One logic I already explained. Delta y is corresponding increment in y. So as delta x tends to 0, delta y also tends to 0. If you want another consideration for this, I'll explain. See, what is limit of delta y as delta x tends to 0? Can I write delta y as delta y upon delta x into delta x? Yes, I can. Delta x gets cancelled, so delta y only. Now limit of product is product of limits. What is limit of delta y upon delta x? Dy dx, Leibniz notation, into limit of delta x as delta x tends to 0. It is 0 only. So dy dx into 0, that is 0. I hope that you understood this. So I can say that as delta x tends to 0, delta y also tends to 0. Since limit on RHS exists, limit in LHS also exists, and we have again as per Leibniz notation, limit of this is nothing but dx dy. So we get dx dy equal to 1 upon dy dx, where dy dx is not equal to 0. Now we derive important formulae, derivatives of inverse trigonometric functions. If y equal to sine inverse x, then dy dx is what? 1 upon root of 1 minus x square. Let y be sine inverse x, then x equal to sine y. Now differentiating both sides with respect to y, remember, not with respect to x, because x is sine y. So what is derivative of x with respect to y? Dx dy. What is derivative of sine y with respect to y? Cos y. Now can I write cos y as root 1 minus sine square y? Yes, I can. But sine y is nothing but x. So dx dy is root of 1 minus x square. Now what is dy dx? 1 upon dx dy, provided this is not 0. So I'm not considering plus minus 1. So dy dx is what? 1 upon root 1 minus x square. So this is an important result, that derivative of sine inverse x is what? 1 upon root of 1 minus x square. In board exam, you may be asked this for 4 marks. First, prove the derivative, that theorem, derivative of inverse function, and then you will be asked to find derivative of one of the 6 inverse trigonometric functions. Then second one, if y equal to cos inverse x, then what is dy dx? It is minus 1 upon root 1 minus x square. Let y be cos inverse x, then x equal to cos y. We know that 0 less than y less than pi. Similarly, x lies between -1 and 1. Now in first and second quadrant, sin y is greater than 0. We differentiate both the sides. We get dx dy. What is derivative of cos y? It is minus sin y. So it is minus, what is sin y? Root of 1 minus cos square y. So as cos y is x, I write this as minus root 1 minus x square. So what is dy dx? 1 upon dx dy. That is dy dx equal to 1 upon minus root 1 minus x square. That is d dx of cos inverse x is minus 1 upon root 1 minus x square. The third function, if y equal to tan inverse x, then what is the derivative of tan inverse x? It is 1 upon 1 plus x square. Let y be tan inverse x. Invert the relation to get x equal to tan y. Differentiating both sides with respect to y, we get dx dy equal to, what is derivative of tan y? Sec square y. But sec square y is 1 plus tan square y. As tan y is x, it is 1 plus x square. So what is dy dx? It is 1 upon dx dy, that is 1 upon 1 plus x square. That gives me derivative of tan inverse x as 1 upon 1 plus x square. Next, if y is cot inverse x, then what is the derivative? Minus 1 upon 1 plus x square. If y is cot inverse x, then what is x? X is nothing but cot y. Differentiating with respect to y, so dx dy is minus cosec square y. Cosec square y can be replaced by 1 plus cot square y. As cot y is x, this is minus in bracket 1 plus x square. So dy dx is 1 upon dx dy, that is 1 upon minus in bracket 1 plus x square. So finally, derivative of cot inverse x is minus 1 upon 1 plus x square. Now what is derivative of sec inverse x? It is 1 upon x into root of x square minus 1. Basically, we should say mod of x into root x square minus 1. But usually it is written as 1 upon x into root x square minus 1 only. Now we begin with y equal to sec inverse x. So x equal to sec y. Now sec y and tan y are of the same sign in first and second quadrants. So the product sec y into tan y is positive. What is derivative of sec y? It is sec y tan y. Sec y as it is 1 plus tan square is sec square. So what is tan square? Sec square minus 1. So what is tan y? Root of sec square y minus 1. Replace sec y by x to get x into root of x square minus 1. So what is dy dx? 1 upon dx dy, that is 1 upon x into root x square minus 1. This means derivative of sec inverse x is 1 upon x into root of x square minus 1. Can you guess derivative of cosec inverse x? Yes, it is minus 1 upon x into root of x square minus 1. We can use different logic also to get this derivative that we'll discuss later on. So this is the last inverse trigonometric function. What is derivative of cosec inverse x? It is minus 1 upon x into root x square minus 1. Let y be cosec inverse x. Then what is x? Cosec y. What is derivative of cosec y? Minus cosec y into cot y. Also, cosec y and cot y are of the same sign in first and fourth quadrant. See why I am saying first and fourth? See, minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. Angle measured in anti-clockwise sense is negative. So 0 to minus 90 means fourth quadrant and 0 to 90 means first quadrant. Now, dx dy is minus cosec y cot y. Unknown should be expressed in terms of known. Basics in trigonometry. Now we know that cosec y is x. So can you express cot y in terms of cosec? You can if you know trigonometric identity. 1 plus cot square y is cosec square y. Cot square y will be cosec square y minus 1. So what is cot y? It is root cosec square y minus 1. That is minus x into root x square minus 1. So what is dy dx? It is 1 upon minus x into root x square minus 1. This means derivative of cosec inverse x is minus 1 upon x into root x square minus 1. Here again the observation is, if inverse trigo ratio spelling begins with c, then you will notice that the derivative is negative. Now this table is important. Here I have listed all 6 standard results. See, before you actually solve sums on this particular topic, you should learn these results by heart. Otherwise, every time you will see what is derivative of sine inverse x and what is derivative of tan inverse x, that will not help. Now, derivatives of inverse composite trigonometric functions. You will also appreciate that every time x will not be there. It can be x square, it can be x cube. So we consider the general case. That is, instead of considering sine inverse x, I'll consider sine inverse f of x. Now, how to find derivative of sine inverse f of x? Simple. Replace f of x by u. That is why I tell that derivative of composite function, that is chain rule, is the most important rule in derivative. Now the topic is inverse trigo, but you require the knowledge of chain rule. So if I replace f of x by u, then y becomes sine inverse u. What is derivative of sine inverse u? See, ddx of sine inverse x is 1 upon root 1 minus x square. So it will be ddu of sine inverse u. It will be 1 upon root of 1 minus u square. I have taken u for what? Fx. So it is 1 upon root of 1 minus square of fx into du dx by chain rule. That is into derivative of fx, which is what? F dash of x. Is that clear? Similarly, for remaining 5 inverse trigonometric functions. Now this is the most important part, because you will find that in most of the inverse trigonometric functions, before you find the derivative, the main job is to simplify the given inverse trigonometric function. Then you will find that differentiation is not at all difficult. So these are the 5 or 6 sets of properties. The first set, sine inverse x is cosec inverse 1 upon x and cosec inverse x is sine inverse 1 upon x. Clearly x not equal to 0. We will verify this. Suppose x is half. What is sine inverse half? Sine inverse half is the angle whose sine ratio is half. Also that angle should belong to closed interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, or I'll say minus 90 degrees to plus 90 degrees. Clearly that angle is 30 degrees, that is pi by 6. Now x is half, so 1 upon x becomes what? 2. What is cosec inverse 2? Cosec inverse 2 is the angle whose cosecant ratio is 2. Clearly that angle is 30 degrees. So is that clear? I hope that you will not say that reciprocal of sine inverse x is cosec inverse x. That is absurd. I have taken reciprocal of this number. Remember, in sine inverse x, x is not the angle, it is the sine ratio. Similarly for remaining, that is cos inverse x is what? Sec inverse 1 upon x. Tan inverse x is cot inverse 1 upon x. The second set, sine inverse minus x is minus sine inverse x. Tan inverse minus x is minus tan inverse x. Cosec inverse minus x is minus cosec inverse x. What is cos inverse minus x? It is pi minus cos inverse x. See, this part is important. But suppose while solving MCQ, if you forget, not in all the cases, but if you forget to consider pi, then on differentiating, derivative of pi is going to be 0. So final answer may be correct one. But it is better that you remember this for even MCQs also, that what is cos inverse of minus x? It is not just minus cos inverse x, it is pi minus cos inverse x. The reason is simple. What is cos of minus theta? Is it minus cos theta? No. Cos of minus theta is cos theta only. But cos of pi minus theta is nothing but minus cos theta. Is that clear? Now, sec inverse of minus x, pi minus sec inverse x, cot inverse of minus x, pi minus cot inverse x. Now the next set, property 4, sin inverse x plus cos inverse x is pi by 2. I was talking about this particular property. We'll verify this. Suppose x is half. What is sin inverse half? 30 degrees. Plus what is cos inverse half? 60 degrees. 30 plus 60 is 90. It is better to consider angle in radian because in calculus we do not use degree measure. Now, if we are asked to find derivative of cos inverse x, we will say that sin inverse plus cos inverse is pi by 2. So what is cos inverse x? Pi by 2 minus sin inverse x. So derivative of cos inverse x is derivative of pi by 2, which is 0, minus derivative of sin inverse x, which is what? 1 upon root 1 minus x square. And that is why derivative of cos inverse x is minus 1 upon root of 1 minus x square. Similarly, sec inverse of x plus cosec inverse of x is pi by 2. Tan inverse of x plus cot inverse of x equal to pi by 2. But you have to observe the restrictions on x which are mentioned here. Now this set is very important. Tan inverse x plus tan inverse y is tan inverse x plus y upon 1 minus xy, provided x and y are positive and xy is less than 1. But if xy is greater than 1, then what is tan inverse x plus tan inverse y? It is pi plus tan inverse x plus y upon 1 minus xy. Now if we do not know whether x and y, rather xy is greater than 1 or less than 1, we, while solving problem, generally consider this only. In any case, derivative of pi being a constant will be 0. Again, this result is important. Tan inverse x minus tan inverse y is tan inverse, this should have been x minus y upon 1 plus xy. Correction here. Tan inverse x minus tan inverse y is what? Tan inverse x minus y upon 1 plus xy. Again, these results, if you know the formulae for sin 2 theta, cos 2 theta, tan 2 theta in terms of tan theta, then you can appreciate these results. What is sin 2 theta in terms of tan? Sin 2 theta is 2 tan theta upon 1 plus tan square theta. What is cos 2 theta? 1 minus tan square theta upon 1 plus tan square theta. Tan 2 theta is 2 tan theta upon 1 minus tan square theta. But even if you do not remember this, no problem. Good. Now, derivatives of inverse trigonometric functions by substitution. With proper substitution, the given inverse function can be reduced to simple form. Then the derivative may be easily obtained. For example, if the given function is sin inverse fx, we try to convert f of x in the form involving sine or cosine, so that the function can be simplified further and the derivative may be obtained. Generally, following substitutions help in finding the derivatives of inverse functions. I'll make this point more clear. See, sine inverse fx. If you decide to differentiate as it is, you know what is the derivative. It is 1 upon root of 1 minus square of this into derivative of fx, that is f dash of x. But if you could express fx as sine of, say, g of x, then sine inverse of sine of g of x is simply g of x. So there is no need to find derivative of sine inverse and so on. Just you have to find derivative of g of x. Now this table is very important because you will be using this table not only in derivatives but in integration also. And this is logical. See, mathematics, they say that there must be method in madness also. This is mathematics, so it is definitely methodical. Consider root a square minus x square. Substitution is x equal to a sin theta, or you may go for a cos theta also, but generally we go for sin, tan and sec instead of cos, cot and cosec. Now what is the use? This becomes root a square minus a square sin square. Take a square common to get 1 minus sin square, which is cos square. And what is root of cos square? It is cos. So to get rid of this radical sign, this substitution will help. Root a square plus x square, we go for x equal to a tan, because 1 plus tan square is x square. In case of root x square minus a square, we go for x equal to a sec. Why? Because sec square minus 1 is nothing but tan square. Now for these two, we go for a cos theta. If it is 1 minus 2x square sin theta, because 1 minus 2 sin square theta is nothing but cos 2 theta. In this case, we go for cos theta, because 2 cos square theta minus 1 is nothing but cos 2 theta. Now this part is important. 2x upon 1 minus x square, 2x upon 1 plus x square, and in 1 minus x square upon 1 plus x square, we go for x equal to tan theta. Why? Because 2 tan theta upon 1 minus tan square theta is tan 2 theta. 2 tan theta upon 1 plus tan square theta, sin 2 theta, and 1 minus tan square theta upon 1 plus tan square theta is nothing but cos 2 theta. Now, we are asked to find derivatives of these functions. The first function is cos inverse root cos x. Let y be cos inverse root cos x, differentiating both sides with respect to x. Now we consider root cos x as u. What is derivative of cos inverse u? It is minus 1 upon root of 1 minus u square into du dx by chain rule. That is derivative of u, which is root cos x. Now derivative of root is 1, 1 upon 2 root into derivative of cos x. What is derivative of cos x? Minus sin x. So final answer is dy dx equal to sin x upon 2 root of cos x into 1 minus cos x. See, root a into root b is what? Root ab. Now the next one, y equal to 10 raised to cot inverse x plus 10 raised to tan inverse x. I hope that you will not say that, sir, cot inverse x plus tan inverse x is pi by 2. Yes, that is true. But that is of no use here, because you are not supposed to take 10 common. There is plus sign between two terms and not multiplication. So you are not supposed to add indices. See, this is very basic. Now, let us differentiate. What is derivative of a raised to u? It is a raised to u log a into derivative of cot inverse x. What is derivative of cot inverse x? Minus 1 upon 1 plus x square. And here the same thing. What is derivative of 10 raised to tan inverse x? This should be 10 raised to tan inverse x. This is index. It is 10 raised to tan inverse x into derivative of tan inverse x, which is 1 upon 1 plus x square. Now I have taken log 10 upon 1 plus x square common to get in bracket 10 raised to tan inverse x minus 10 raised to cot inverse x. Yes. Now from sum number 3 onwards, we'll be first simplifying the function and then we will differentiate. Next function is tan inverse 1 minus sin x upon cos x. Now can we differentiate this as it is? Yes, but that is Hamali method, donkey method. We are not supposed to use that. Then we should try to express 1 minus sin upon cos in terms of tan or cot. Why cot will also do? Because cot theta is nothing but tan of pi by 2 minus theta. Is that clear? So if we express 1 minus sin x upon cos x in terms of tan, then we can use that tan inverse of tan of any angle is that angle. Of course, when I say, in fact, tan inverse of tan of any angle is that angle, provided that angle belongs to open interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. But hereafter we will assume that that condition is satisfied. Now I will say that this is not the problem on derivative, this is a problem on trigonometry only. See this one, I have written 1 as cos square x by 2 plus sin square x by 2. What is sine 2 theta? 2 sin theta cos theta. So what is this sin x? It is 2 sin x cos x. I'm sorry, 2 sin x by 2 cos x by 2. Now in the next step, this numerator is written as square of cos x by 2 minus in sin x by 2. You can check that a minus b square is a square plus b square minus twice ab. Now what about denominator? What is formula for cos 2 theta? Cos square theta minus sin square theta. So what is cos x? Cos square x by 2 minus sin square x by 2. Is that clear? What are the factors of a square minus b square? They are a plus b into a minus b. Now 1 cos minus sin gets cancelled. So in the next step, you will notice that it is cos x by 2 minus sin x by 2 upon cos x by 2 plus sin x by 2. Now divide numerator and denominator by cos x by 2 to get 1 minus tan upon 1 plus tan. Now you should be able to write this directly. Here I have written one more step, but in exam you can directly say this equal to this. Why? Because if you expand this, what is tan of alpha minus beta? Tan alpha minus tan beta. Yes, tan pi by 4 is 1, and that is why this 1 is replaced by tan pi by 4 upon 1 plus tan alpha tan beta. Now tan pi by 4 is 1, so I can say that 1 plus tan x by 2 is this. Yes, we have expressed this in terms of tan. So this becomes tan inverse of tan of pi by 4 minus x by 2, which is simply pi by 4 minus x by 2. See, instead of differentiating this function, we are required to differentiate simple one, pi by 4 minus x by 2. So what is the derivative? Derivative of pi by 4 is 0. Now what is minus x by 2? It is minus half into x. What is derivative of x? 1. So final answer is minus 1 by 2. Next function, cos inverse of 3 cos x minus 4 sin x upon 5. Now y equal to cos inverse of this. Again we will try to express this in terms of either cosine or sine. I write this as 3 upon 5 cos x minus 4 upon 5 sin x. Now I have put cos alpha equal to 3 by 5. See, many students say let cos alpha be 3 by 5 and sin alpha be 4 by 5. See, you cannot define both because these are dependent. You can define cos alpha, but from that you have to obtain sin alpha. Here I have used this identity. You can use triangle method also. So if cos alpha is 3 by 5, then what is 4 by 5? It happens to be sin alpha. So this becomes y equal to cos inverse cos alpha cos x minus sin alpha sin x. This is expansion of what? This is expansion of cos of alpha plus x. Yes, cos inverse of cos of any angle is that angle. So alpha plus x. In exam you can say that alpha is a constant, so its derivative is 0. Otherwise, what is tan? Sin upon cos, so you get 4 by 3. So what is alpha? Tan inverse 4 by 3, again a constant, so its derivative is 0. And what is derivative of x? 1. So the final answer is 1. This sum is again of the same type. Here I split numerator 4 by root 41 cos x plus 5 by root 41 sin x. I say let sin a be 4 upon root 41. Then using identity, it is found that 5 upon root 41 is what? Cos a. So I substitute to get y equal to sin inverse of sin a cos x plus cos a sin x. This is expansion of what? Sin of a plus x. That gives me y as sin inverse of sin of a plus x, which is nothing but a plus x. Now you can simply say that a is a constant, so its derivative is 0. So finally derivative of x, which is 1, is the answer. So what is dy dx? Dy dx is nothing but 1. Now, next function, sine inverse root 1 plus x plus root 1 minus x upon 2. If you remember that table, you will say that, sir, we have to put x equal to cos theta. Yes, that is correct. But here I have written x equal to cos 2 theta. Cos theta will also do, but I have taken cos 2 theta. So what is 2 theta? Cos inverse x. We require this in the last but one step. So theta is what? Half cos inverse x. Now root 1 plus x becomes, with this substitution, root 1 plus cos 2 theta. 1 plus cos 2 theta is 2 cos square theta. Its root is root 2 cos. Root 1 minus x becomes root 1 minus cos 2 theta, that is root 2 sine square theta, which is root 2 sine theta. Substitute to get y as sine inverse root 2 cos plus root 2 sine upon 2. Now what is root 2 upon 2? This 2 is root 2 into root 2. So 1 upon root 2 cos theta plus 1 upon root 2 sine theta. I replace this 1 upon root 2 by sine pi by 4 and this 1 upon root 2 by cos pi by 4. Note that this is the expansion of sine of pi by 4 plus theta. So y becomes sine inverse of sine of this angle. But sine inverse of sine of any angle is that angle. We will verify. Okay. Suppose this angle is pi by 2. Then sine pi by 2 is what? 1. And what is sine inverse 1? Sine inverse 1 is the angle whose sine ratio is 1. So again pi by 2. And that is why we say sine inverse of sine of this angle is that angle only. Now what is theta? It is half cos inverse x. Find the derivative now. Derivative of constant is 0. What is derivative of cos inverse x? Minus 1 upon root of 1 minus x square. Now first you will read the solution, then I'll explain. Okay, let y be the given function. Now you should know that tan 3 theta is 3 tan theta minus tan cube theta upon 1 minus 3 tan square theta. So I use the substitution x equal to a tan theta. So that what will be tan theta? X upon a. So in the last but one step, we have to replace theta again by what? Tan inverse x upon a. Now if we use x equal to a tan theta, this becomes 3a square a tan theta minus a cube tan cube theta upon a cube minus 3a into tan square theta. Now some students, they say that, sir, can we take a cube common from denominator and numerator both? Yes, one and the same thing. You will have to use same substitution. Okay. Now I take a cube common from numerator and denominator. I cancel that to get what? 3 tan theta minus tan cube theta upon 1 minus 3 tan square theta. Okay, you want to see the previous slide again? Okay. See this one. Fine. Now tan inverse of tan 3 theta is nothing but 3 theta. But what is theta? Tan inverse x upon a. This means we are asked to differentiate 3 tan inverse x upon a. 3 is constant. Consider x upon a as u. What is the derivative of tan inverse u? 1 upon 1 plus u square into du dx by chain rule. Don't even think of using quotient rule. You should know that in x upon a, 1 upon a is constant. So it is simply 1 upon a into derivative of x, which is 1. So what is the final answer? 3a square upon, in fact 3a rather, because 1a gets cancelled. So 3a upon a square plus x square. This is again of the same type. Let y be the given function. Divide numerator and denominator by b cos x. See, there is one thumb rule. you will notice that in the formulae, denominator is either 1 plus or 1 minus. So you have to divide b cos to get 1 here. See how does this helps. Now, if you divide numerator and denominator by b cos x, you get a cos x upon b cos x minus b sin x upon b cos x upon 1 plus a sin upon b cos, that is a upon b minus tan x upon 1 plus a upon b tan x. Do you remember the formula? I again advise you, before you start solving sums, you should know each and every formula for derivative of inverse trigonometric function. Then only you should start solving. Now, tan inverse of p minus q upon 1 plus pq is what? Tan inverse p minus tan inverse q. So this becomes tan inverse a upon b minus tan inverse tan x. See, many students, they just say tan inverse x. No, I call this as p, this as q. So p minus q upon 1 plus pq, it becomes tan inverse p minus tan inverse q. Q is tan x, and that is why it is not tan inverse x, it is tan inverse tan x. Tan inverse of tan of x is simply x. Now differentiate. Derivative of this 0 being a constant, and what is derivative of x? 1. So the final answer is minus 1. Now this is a good one. Again the same logic. In the denominator we need 1 plus or 1 minus. Now coefficient of x square is positive. So I write denominator as, observe the denominator carefully, I write this as 1 plus. So inside the bracket it will be 6x square minus 5x. It won't be minus 3. I have written plus 1. So it will be minus 4. See, we cannot write altogether different thing. We can write the same thing in different form. It is allowed. Now what are the factors of this quadratic expression? They are 2x plus 1 and 3x minus 4. If you say this is of the type 1 plus pq, it is your responsibility to express numerator in the form p minus q. Yes, 5 minus x is what? 2x plus 1 minus 3x minus 4. Is that clear? So this is of which type now? Tan inverse p minus q upon 1 plus pq, which is tan inverse p minus tan inverse q. See, in some textbook, I remember by mistake it was 5 plus x. So students said that this cannot be differentiated. Yes, this can also be differentiated. The only thing is you cannot simplify this. So in that case, you have to say that this is u, derivative of tan inverse u is 1 upon 1 plus u square into derivative of this, for which you have to use quotient rule. But here shortcut method can be used. Now, what is derivative of tan inverse 2x plus 1? Can you tell me? Yes, it is 1 upon 1 plus square of this into du dx by chain rule, that is into derivative of 2x plus 1, which is 2, minus what is derivative of this? 1 upon 1 plus square of 3x minus 4 into derivative of 3x minus 4, which is 3. You will find that in the next step. Yes. So this is the final answer. Differentiate the following with respect to x. First one, tan inverse root of 1 plus a square x square minus 1 upon ax. Clearly, we have to put ax equal to tan theta. So that what is theta? Tan inverse ax. Substitute, you will get y equal to tan inverse root 1 plus tan square theta minus 1 upon tan theta. See, I have omitted one step, taking that common. In fact, no, I'm sorry, ax is tan theta. Fine. So root 1 plus tan square theta, which is root sec square theta, which is sec theta, minus 1 upon tan theta. Now, our job is to express this in terms of tan. What is sec? 1 upon cos. What is tan? Sine upon cos. So this becomes 1 minus cos upon sine. Now 1 minus cos theta is 2 sine square theta by 2. What is formula for sine 2 theta? 2 sine theta cos theta. So what is sine theta? It is 2 sine theta by 2 cos theta by 2. 1 sine theta by 2 gets cancelled, 2 gets cancelled. What remains is sine theta by 2 upon cos theta by 2, which is nothing but tan theta by 2. Actually, it is better to put an angle in a bracket if it is a fraction. So tan inverse of tan of theta by 2 is simply theta by 2, that is half theta. But what is theta? Tan inverse x. Now what is derivative of this? Take ax equal to u. Derivative of tan inverse u is 1 upon 1 plus u square into derivative of ax. What is derivative of ax? It is a into derivative of x, which is 1. So what is the final answer? A upon 2 into in bracket 1 plus a square x square. Now initially I will not explain. Read the solution. Isn't it simple if you know the formulae? Now we have the fact that cosec inverse x is sine inverse 1 upon x. That is, if you want to replace cosec inverse by sine inverse, you have to consider reciprocal of this. Yes, so we get this plus cos inverse as it is. Now sine inverse p plus cos inverse p is always pi by 2. So y becomes what? Pi by 2. Here I have mentioned the reason. Now pi by 2 is a constant. Derivative of any constant is 0. So what is the final answer? 0. The next function is sine of 2 tan inverse root of 1 minus x upon 1 plus x. Put x equal to cos 2 theta. You can go for cos theta also. So 2 theta will be what? Cos inverse x. So theta will be half cos inverse x. Now this becomes y equal to sine of 2 tan inverse root of 1 minus cos 2 theta upon 1 plus cos 2 theta. That is root of 2 sine square theta upon 2 cos square theta. That is root tan square theta, which is simply tan theta. So in the next step, you will get sine of 2 tan inverse tan theta. What is tan inverse of tan theta? Theta. So this becomes sine 2 theta. That is sine of cos inverse x, because x equal to cos 2 theta. Now differentiate. Consider cos inverse x as u. What is derivative of sine u cos u into du dx by chain rule? What is derivative of cos inverse x? Minus 1 upon root of 1 minus x square. Now cos of cos inverse x is nothing but x. Want to verify this? Okay. Suppose x is half. What is cos inverse half? The angle belonging to that closed interval 0 to pi, whose cosine ratio is half, that angle is 60 degrees. So we have now cos 60 degrees. But what is cos 60 degrees? Half. And that is why I am saying cos of cos inverse x is nothing but x. So what is the final answer? The final answer, it should be minus x, not plus x, minus x upon root of 1 minus x square. Now this is again simple one. Tan inverse of 4x upon 1 plus 5x square plus tan inverse of 2 plus 3x upon 3 minus 2x. If you remember the logic, you can solve all the sums. See, this is 1 plus. So you should express 5x square as a difference. Why? Because sum is there in the denominator. So numerator must be expressed as difference only. Now I have written 4x as what? 5x minus x. Now you will say that, sir, 6x minus 2x is also 4x. Yes, I know. But 6x into 2x is not 5x square, right? So we have to write 4x as 5x minus x. So tan inverse P minus Q upon 1 plus PQ. In the next step, I write this as tan inverse phi x minus tan inverse x. What about this? Here it should be 1 minus, but this is 3 minus. So I have to divide denominator and therefore numerator also by 3. This becomes 2 upon 3 plus x upon 1 minus 2 upon 3 into x. See, again this is of which type? Tan inverse P plus Q upon 1 minus PQ is tan inverse P plus tan inverse Q. I think this term gets cancelled. So what remains is y equal to tan inverse phi x plus tan inverse 2 upon 3. Yes. Now derivative of this, it being a constant equal to 0. What is derivative of this? Take phi x as u. Derivative of tan inverse u is 1 upon 1 plus u square into derivative of phi x, which is u. What is the derivative of phi x? Phi. So the final answer dy dx equal to phi upon 1 plus 25x square. Now we have solved, I think, two sums of this type. Y equal to sine inverse 3x plus 4 root 1 minus x square upon 5, split numerator. So 3 upon 5 into x plus 4 upon 5 into this. Now you should again remember that table, expression substitution. For this expression you have to go for x equal to sine theta, that is theta equal to sine inverse x. Now I can take 3 upon 5 equal to cos A because it is lying between minus 1 and 1. So using fundamental identity, I find that 4 upon 5 is nothing but sin A. Now what is tan A from this? It is nothing but 4 by 3. So in the last step, or maybe last but one, I have to replace A by what? Tan inverse 4 by 3. So this becomes y equal to sine inverse cos A sin theta plus sin A cos theta. We'll see this slide again. See, 3 upon 5 is cos A. So cos A sin x plus sin A cos x. Yes. Instead of x, I should have said theta, not x. Okay. Now, this is expansion of what? Sin of theta plus A. Sin of theta plus A is sin theta cos A plus cos theta sin A. Now, sin inverse of sine of any angle is that angle. See, I will not repeat this provided that angle belongs to. It is to be understood. Now, what is theta? Sin inverse x. So, y becomes sin inverse x plus a, which is tan inverse 4 by 3. Now, derivative part. Derivative of sin inverse x, 1 upon root 1 minus x square. Derivative of constant, 0. So, this is the final answer. I think this is again the same. The only thing is you have to replace sine in terms of, rather you have to express sine in terms of cos. Okay. Here we put x equal to cos theta. Now you will ask me why not to put x equal to sine theta. That will also do. But I thought cos inverse is there. So go for x equal to cos theta. But again sine theta, that substitution is also correct. Now x is cos. So in the later stage we will replace theta by cos inverse x. So y equal to what? Cos inverse of cos theta sin A minus cos A into what? Sin theta. This is expansion. You will notice that this is expansion of what? Sin of A minus theta. Now we need cos inverse of cos theta. But I have got sin theta. But I know that cos of 90 minus theta is sin theta. So sin of A minus theta can be written as cos of pi by 2 minus this. See, you have to observe that this is to be put in a bracket. Otherwise you will say pi by 2 minus A minus theta. That is wrong. After opening the bracket, it becomes minus A plus theta. You have to be careful. Now, cos inverse of cos of any angle is that angle. So we get pi by 2 minus A minus minus plus theta. That is pi by 2 minus A plus cos inverse x. Differentiate. Derivative of pi by 2, 0. Derivative of a being a constant 0. What is derivative of cos inverse x? Minus 1. In fact, okay. No, this should be cos inverse x only. Why cos inverse 1 upon x? No, cos inverse x. I'm sorry. This should be cos inverse x. So what is derivative of cos inverse x? It is minus 1 upon root 1 minus x square. Now the next one, y equal to sine square of what? Cot inverse root 1 plus x upon 1 minus x. Now it is cot inverse of x. It is tan inverse of its reciprocal. See here it is root 1 plus upon 1 minus. Now I have written root 1 minus upon 1 plus. Clearly we go for x equal to cos 2 theta. So theta is what? Half cos inverse x. Now this becomes, I'll read this part only, root of 1 minus cos 2 theta upon 1 plus cos 2 theta. That is root 2 sine square theta upon 2 cos square theta. That is simply tan theta. So y equal to what? Sine square of tan inverse of what? Tan theta, because root tan square is tan. Tan inverse of tan of any angle is that angle. So we get sine inverse of, sine square of theta. What is sine square theta? 1 minus cos 2 theta upon 2. Now you will ask me why to express in this manner. The reason is simple. We have to express this again in terms of x. Now the substitution is x equal to cos 2 theta, and therefore we expressed sine square theta in this form. So replace cos 2 theta by x to get simple function y equal to half into 1 minus x. So what is the derivative? Half into 0 minus 1, because derivative of 1 equal to 0 and derivative of x is 1. So what is the final answer? It is minus 1 by 2. I think this is enough for today. I again thank you for attending this particular session. Now I insist that before you attend, you should prepare not only the basic part, but at least you should read this next part which I'll be taking from the textbook. The next part I'll be taking is logarithmic differentiation and derivatives of implicit function.